there were no opportunities for African people in Kimberley. It was always a town which only created opportunities for white people, and at best, some opportunities for what used to be called colored people. So that when you are in Kimberley and you were born there, went to school there, and you had ambitions of going beyond matric and engage in tertiary educational activities, you had to leave Kimberley and do it somewhere else. Most of us left Kimberley after matric, went to university somewhere else, and never go back to Kimberley because there were no opportunities for people with university qualifications. That's our life story. It is for that reason that after university, I also never went back. But Utata Sobukwe came at the time when I was finishing matric. I went to Turfloop University, and I went to university in a period where the revolution against apartheid sharpened. The Abra Onkopotsetiro strikes, which manifested themselves throughout the country, happened in 1972. I was at university at the time. I was at Turfloop. Thank you. I need that. And not long thereafter, in 1974, the Frelimo national strikes also manifest in support of the Frelimo uprisings in Mozambique at the time. 2 years thereafter, 1976 happened. And Bunta Sobukwe were in the midst of all of that. No wonder they were blamed for that level of revolution in society generally at national level. Universities were regarded as hotbeds for political activity in the first place. Political revolution was led by students in the open. And most of us were then outside of Kimberley. But then the strategy that the regime used with universities at the time was, when these national solidarity strikes or uprisings or revolutionary action manifested themselves throughout the country, they would close the universities and we would all be sent home. But the last songs, revolutionary songs that we would sing before we went home, whether you were detained or whether you were outside of detention, was any song which embraced the lyrics, "Aluta continua," which meant when we come back, the struggle shall continue. The idea was to close the universities, readmit, formally readmit, you had to re-register, readmit students and fizzle out the so-called ringleaders. The ringleaders would not be admitted and only the others would come back. But because we have undertaken that aluta continua, whether you are admitted or not, you would come back to campus. And you would not distinguish who is student and who is not student. Okay. So, Ntati Sobukwe came back into, after 6 years of detention, came back into that kind of social setting. Now, I had gone back home, and I didn't go back to university at some stage. And I stayed at home, and that is why you see on my CV that I was a salesperson at some stage. Then I decided to find a part-time job because I didn't have the money to go back. And I didn't have train fare to go back, actually, that's what it was. So I had to find a job. And I got a job at then it was an Edgar's outfit called Sales House. So I'm just telling the story because Tando committed me. I have to fulfill his promise that I will tell the story. Because this is not about Ntate Sobukwe. This occasion is about Mama Zonde. But let me not go too long. Let me just fulfill the promise and finish the story. So, Kanti, when I left Turflow, we used to have these metal trunks, what we called trunk. It's like a suitcase, a metal suitcase. But it was sturdy, it was strong. We didn't have these Gucci things. The students would want to carry. We had a metal trunk where you put in everything. Yeah. And you would just have a little bag that you go into the train and not the flight. Okay. And you stayed 2 days in the train, riding the train from Petersburg to Kimberley. So I had put everything, when I left campus, I had put everything in my suitcase. Including, because we belonged to SASO, we were ringleaders at SASO. I put everything, including SASO material, reading material, into that trunk. I couldn't carry it on myself because they were banned material. So I put everything in there. When my trunk reached Kimberley Station, it was intercepted. It was opened. And of course, and very early in the morning, the doors were kicked open, the security police came, they detained me, and was taken to, not the police station, we used to have headquarters, security headquarters. I was interrogated about this material. And I thought, my material. I don't know anything. No, you must have had the wrong trunk. They said, come. They took me to a room. They said, whose trunk is this? Actually, this is my trunk. And then they said, open it. He said, or should we open it? I said, yeah, you can open it. Where's the key? I don't have the key. No, when they asked me to open it, I said, I don't have the key. I didn't know that you would ask me to open my trunk. You had my trunk. I said, okay, should we open it? I said, you may open it. I said, okay, witness, everybody, she says we can open it. So they broke it open. Actually broke it open with some gadget. And just on top, we had the SASO material. You know the SASO emblem was the clenched fist. We had the SASO material books there. Whose books are these? And I said, those? I have no idea. They said, whose trunk is this? It's my trunk. But whose books is it? I don't know. They said, who packed this trunk? I said, wow, I can't remember that. You know, when we left campus, it was confusing. We were helping each other to pack things. And I don't know, maybe somebody put those things there. And says, you think you're clever, eh? And they locked me up. Closed the trunk, they locked me up. It was on a Friday, early in the morning. So over the weekend, I spent the time in jail. And then on Monday, I appeared in court. And the family had asked Ntate Sobukwe to represent me. And then he, so to say, dealt with it. Okay. And then the next occasion, I was now at home. The next occasion again, I was arrested for actually shouting at the police for arresting somebody who had done nothing. During that time, in the townships, you would have, on a Friday evening, police vans which we called, you remember the 6 Mabonge mill? Yeah. They would drive around in police vans which had a lot of lights in front. 6 lights, 3 on the side, 3 on the side, and we used to call them 6 Mabonge. And then the police would hang on the police van at the back and they would pick up people, they would just arrest people. Now in Kimberley, because of the alcohol problem, you would be arrested for loitering or for drinking in public. So they would just pick up people, throw them into the van. So I was walking with this friend of mine and I witnessed the police just, a young man was just standing somewhere on the corner, on the corner of the street and just watching the world go by. The police just came, picked him up, threw him into the van. I said, for goodness sake, you can't do that. He hasn't done anything. He said, I don't know what happened. Because the next moment, I was inside the van. When I asked my friend what actually happened, she says, as you were shouting, they came, lifted you up and threw you into the van. They drove around with us the whole night, picking up drunken people. And I was there, the only woman in a van full of men. And I and this young man were the first ones to get into the van. The rest of the people came after us. So you can imagine we were squashed against the van. And they had the kind of cage where they had dogs there, police dogs. So the police dogs were between us and the driver's area. So as the police van drove very roughly, we would fall against this cage and hold against it. And the dogs would try to bite us. It was terrible. So at around, that happened when they picked us up, it was about 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock in summer. At about 10 o'clock we got to the police station and they took me one side. In the same room, I had to stand somewhere in the corner and they started beating up these guys. They beat up everybody and kicked them. At the time, the police used to wear very heavy boots, very heavy, thick-soled boots. They told me to stand in the corner there, and I had to watch how they were beating up these guys, how they trampled on their lower backs, and they would scream, "Dipio," and then they would go. So again, Sobukwe had to come to my rescue.